Okay, enough theory. It's time to write your very first PHP script. You now know how to use PHP tags to open and close a bit of PHP code. You've seen the print statement and understand what it will do. So we're going to start with the Hello World script. This is a standard programming starter. You will find that almost every programming course you will ever take will have you start by printing out Hello World to the screen in one form or another. So we're going to start a new document, our opening PHP tags, and type print Hello World. Make sure that your text is enclosed within the double quotes and that it's finished with the all-important semicolon. Then we type our closing PHP tag and save it to our server. I'm going to call it hello world.php. Make sure you have that .php extension and save. Flip to our browser and go to our domain, to the file, and there we go. Hello World printed to the screen. If you're getting any kind of errors, double check your script to make sure you have that all-important semicolon and the opening and closing PHP tags. If there's nothing at all on your screen, view the source. If you're seeing the actual PHP in the source of the file through your browser, then first make sure that your document was saved with a .php extension. And if so, check with your host provider to ensure that your account is set up with PHP. Now that you have your first script under your belt, I'm going to show you the most useful PHP function you will ever learn. It is the PHP info function. This function nicely prints out to the screen the current state and settings of the PHP implementation you are using. There's a lot of great debugging information that is shown with this function. I personally use this function quite a bit. Because I do work for many different customers on different servers, they all have different PHP setups. A quick glance at the PHP setup using the PHP info function lets me know what my restrictions on that server are going to be, and can even affect the cost of the quote to the customer. So we're going to start a new document, and from this point on I'm going to assume that you understand that in order to execute a PHP script, you have to start with the opening PHP tag and end with a closing one. So I'm not going to tell you to do it. In order to use the PHP function, you simply type PHP info followed by an opening and closing bracket, and of course, the all-important semicolon. There is an argument that you can use with this function, but it is an optional one. You can look up the details of that argument and of this function on the php.net site. Make sure that you end the function with that all-important semicolon, and then we're going to save the document to our web directory with the name info.php. When we call this document with our browser, you will see all the information you are presented with. The first and most important piece of information you are shown is the version. In this case I'm using 4.3.10. Then you see information such as the system your server is on, the date of the build, and the command that was used to build this PHP version, which is very useful for determining what modules and extra functions are available to you. The next most important piece of information is the configuration file and where it's located. In most cases, unless you have a dedicated server, you will not have access to this file. But in the case that you do, this is how you can find out where that file is. We'll take a look at a typical INI file in a moment. As you scroll down, you will see various settings such as allow call time pass reference, ASP tags, and so on. You will see also that they have a local and a master value. The master value is a value set in the PHP INI file. The local value can be set on a page-by-page basis or through a .ht access file or through specifically your domain configuration. There are a lot of settings here, most of which you will never concern yourself with, but just be aware that they are here. Take some time to go through and familiarize yourself with the PHP info output, as it will come in handy later. Now, to finish off, I'll show you a quick peek at a typical PHP INI file. In this file, lines that are comments or not executed are prefixed with a semicolon. In this file, you can affect settings such as to turn on and off short tags, ASP tags, safe mode, and many others, such as error reporting, whether you want to expose PHP to queries on the server or not. There's a whole section on the php.net that touches on the INI file, but there's not really a huge amount of information about it available. The best place to get information on the INI file is to ask others, such as system administrators that are familiar with it. Keep in mind that it is not wise to mess about with the settings you are unfamiliar with.